Okay, welcome back everybody. My name is JP, and for the last year or so I've been going through something called topical steroid withdrawal, and now I'm making some videos about it. Last week I put out a video of just very surface level, what is TSW, and my sort of opinion about it. Now this week I wanted to go a little bit further and just talk about some helpful stuff, like what are the treatment options? So let's get right into this, okay? So I'm going to cover first the pharmaceutical options because that would be the most responsible thing to do, right? So number one is if you think you're having an issue with your skin and you aren't experiencing success with the topical steroids you're using, you could take more potent topical steroids, in which case you can close this video and keep doing what you're doing. But I'm going to talk about more options than that because I don't think that's a great option. The other option would be something called immunosuppressants like cyclosporine or Protopic and stuff like that. Now, there are some doctors who actually know what TSW is, and they rely heavily on immunosuppressants while the patient just sort of waits out the TSW. And they use other pharmaceuticals to help with pain and other symptoms while that's happening. So that's one option. Now, keep in mind that immunosuppressants are simply blocking those symptoms. So if I understand it correctly, drugs like cyclosporine inhibit the production of inflammation in the body. So, however, when you stop those drugs, the symptoms will come back. I know some people who are going through TSW who were on their way to some different treatments and they were using cyclosporine. And when they began the new treatment, they had to stop cyclosporine. And when they stopped cyclosporine, they were just sending me pictures of their hands and like how much of a nightmare it was, because as soon as they stopped, it was just like full on TSW all over again. And that was pretty horrible. But some people do have more success with that than at least topical steroids. So if you can stop using the TCS, topical corticosteroids, and move on to something else, some people find that to be a success enough. I'm going to go further. There is one more pharmaceutical option that I know of. There are more, but just top level here, we're going to talk about Dupixent.
When your child has moderate to severe eczema, it's okay for them to show off. Show off their clearer skin and noticeably less itch with Dupixent. Because children 6 months and older with eczema have plenty of reasons to show off their skin.
Now, if you're in the US, where pharmaceuticals are allowed to advertise on TV, then you probably heard all about this. Dupixent is a monoclonal antibody injection that blocks, hopefully I don't butcher this, it blocks interleukin 4 and interleukin 13, which are inflammatory cytokines in the body, and they're associated with different conditions like eczema, asthma, allergic rhinitis, I think, and some other conditions. Now, this drug is absolutely everywhere. It's being advertised like crazy, and for many practitioners out there, this is the no-brainer choice if the patient doesn't respond to other treatments. Every time I went to the doctor during the worst of my TSW symptoms, they would really try hard to convince me to try this drug. Now, ultimately, it was my choice, so I decided not to, but other people who I know have had good success with this drug. Other people have not, because again, you are just blocking the symptoms. And for some people that's good enough, but for me, it was not. I'm going to address a couple things here. This drug is made by a company called Regeneron. Regeneron makes a whole bunch of different things, not just Dupixent, but upon very surface level Google searching, I found this. Oh, the plot thickens. What's this? U.S. accuses Regeneron of fraudulent price reporting for eye drug. Here, let me pull up another one here. This is MSN.com. Colorado leads 6 states in $175 million fraud lawsuit against pharmaceutical company. Let me just read this real quick. The lawsuit alleges New York-based Regeneron Pharmaceuticals participated in a scheme resulting in the submission of tens of thousands of false claims to state Medicaid programs, resulting in millions of dollars in losses to the states. But let me just open another one, just so I'm taking things from more than one source. Regeneron hit with Department of Justice complaint that it hid hundreds of millions in EYLEA credit card processing fees from Medicare. So due to a whistleblower tip-off, the DOJ alleges Regeneron knowingly submitted false average sales prices to Medicare and therefore inflated reimbursement rates for EYLEA. Regeneron did this by withholding details about credit card processing fees that the company allegedly paid to drug distributors so that no additional expenses would incur for the buyers, the government claims. All right, so I highly recommend you all go and read these articles. But good Lord, those are quite some claims, right? So we'll see what happens after these lawsuits end. But I'm going to pull up something else here. Just one more thing. This is a website called openpaymentsdata.cms.gov. And I just typed in the allergist who so strongly recommended to me Dupixent. And I'm not going to show his name, just simply going to show what this website shows, and that is all of the payments given from pharmaceutical companies to doctors. But you can see in 2023 alone, this doctor received $53,000 in general payments. So what is this doctor being paid for exactly? Let's see. Okay, so as we scroll down here, we can see a pie chart of all the different payments. And the biggest one is the blue section, and that stands for compensation for services other than consulting, including serving as faculty or as a speaker at a venue other than a continuing education program. And who is paying the most? Oh, what's that? Regeneron. Holy crap. I mean, imagine that. Imagine getting an extra $53,000 a year. I mean, that's pretty good. And they also pay for all of your travel and lodging, all of your food and beverages. I mean, that's pretty insane. And I can go in here and I can download the actual payment thing, but I don't want to reveal the identity of this doctor. I'm not trying to make enemies. I'm simply just trying to point out that I personally have an issue with speaking with a health practitioner, someone who is in charge of giving you the best, most objective advice for what is best for your body. I have an issue when they're being paid large sums of money from the very pharmaceuticals that they're recommending to you. Okay, so take that as you will. This is just my opinion. At the end of the day, you decide to do what you want to do with your body. Let's move on to the next thing here. All right, so let's talk about alternative treatments. Oh no, alternative treatments. This is where I think maybe some people in the medical community might start accusing me of things like, witchcraft and misinformation and stuff like that. But there is indeed a world of healing that exists outside of the world of Western medicine. Now, I just have to put a little caveat in there because during TSW, the person's skin is so fragile and just cannot fend for itself. It can't defend itself at all. So a lot of times infections will occur, and that's when you really need to go into your Western medicine doctor and say, hey, I have an infection. I need antibiotics ASAP. So I just want to be perfectly clear that I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater for Western medicine. If I'm breaking a limb, if I've got an infection, you bet your butt I'm going to the hospital. Okay, so everyone has its uses, just as I think that alternative treatments can have their uses as well. So the first one I want to talk about today is the one I think is taking the TSW community by storm, and that is CAP therapy. What the heck is CAP therapy, you may say? Well, it stands for cold atmospheric plasma. Here on this PubMed article, it says cold atmospheric plasma use in clinical studies is mainly limited to the treatment of chronic wounds, but its application in a wide range of medical fields is now the goal of many analyses. Now, you should read this whole article, but I'm just keeping it at surface level. Basically, it's a machine that uses cold plasma to heal stuff. A lot of times I'm seeing papers where they do studies on diabetic wounds. But think about it. If you have wounds that have really hard times healing, they're chronic, maybe something's wrong with the person's body where it can't heal it itself, you can have a machine that stimulates the skin cells to grow. And that's really good for TSW. So some genius decided, oh my God, maybe I should use it for that. Now, one thing I want to put out there is that because there's such a wide range of use for this type of machine, you can't just go to any place that has a CAP machine and expect to get the same results, okay? There are 3 clinics in the world that I know of that actually treat for TSW. Now, one is in the UK. It's called Solace Aesthetic Clinic. That sounds like something out of James Bond. But if I go onto their website, you're going to see these 2 ladies right here. Now, if you remember from the first video, this here is Louise King, and she actually helps run this clinic. Isn't that incredible? And that's what she used to get where she is now. Below her, there's this lovely lady called Jing, and she is one of the partners there as well. And she wrote this incredible website that I'm going to pull up here called Decoding Topical Steroid Withdrawal. You can see her photo here. And this is one of the most useful sites I had during the throes of my TSW, because you have this whole section called TSW Advice. And this poor woman had it really bad. She shows photos of her journey, and it's just, it is rough. But what she did is she breaks down what is TSW, how does it affect your body, what are the differences between the different classes of topical steroids and their potencies. What's the difference between all the different symptoms you can get during TSW? How do you deal with those factors that cause a flare-up? The whole timeline of how you can heal through TSW. This site is like, for me, it's the Bible of TSW. Whenever I have a question, I can't get someone to answer it for me, I go onto this site. And I encourage those of you who are going through TSW to at least give it a shot. Now, not everyone experiences TSW the same way, but if this is useful for you, then that makes me happy. That makes my day. Okay. Now, the 2 other clinics that I know of, one is in Singapore, and I know very little about it other than that Jing, the lady who wrote that website, went there first and then helped establish the one in the UK. Now, the other one, which I think is probably the most popular that I've heard about, is the one in Thailand, in Bangkok. And that is run by a team of people who were salon workers. And one of them, who went into medical school, was doing a bunch of research and development, and basically helped develop this specific CAP machine for TSW skin. And I know quite a lot of people who have come in and out of that clinic, and the results are frankly incredible.
After 18 months of getting CAP treatment in Thailand for my topical steroid withdrawal, I'm happy to say that my skin has made a total transformation from when I first arrived. When I first got to Thailand, I was in constant pain. I could barely get out of bed. Just the flight over here was completely miserable. I had hardened skin all over my hands, my back, and I didn't even know that my condition was getting worse. But when I came here to the CAP clinic, it was the first time that I'd ever spoken with someone who actually had an answer for every question that I had regarding topical steroid withdrawal. So I instantly knew that I was in a good place, and then when I started treatment, I started to see results within just a few weeks. So I was completely amazed. I knew I was in good hands, and I'm just so grateful for the CAP clinic. I'm grateful for all my family and friends for all the love and support that you've given me. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone.
Now, I just want to quickly cover something here, because I don't want to put out the illusion that if you just go to one of these clinics, you take CAP one time, you're going to be totally healed. No. That's not how it works. It's different from the world of Western medicine where you take a pill, you don't feel pain anymore, you just can move on with the rest of your life. Now, with TSW, if you don't live in one of these three countries, Singapore, UK, Thailand, you're going to have to do a lot of planning. You're going to have to do a lot of fundraising to get yourself in that horrible condition you're in all the way to one of those countries and find a way to legally live there while you're getting the treatment, which can take from like 4 all the way to 6 months or more, depending on your condition. And even after the treatment is done, your skin is still very fragile and it will still take a long time. So what I'm trying to say is that part of CAP, if not an even bigger part of CAP, rather than just the therapy part, is what the patient does in their living space outside of treatment. So things like irritants is one of the big hot topic things in the CAP community, is like making sure that there's no chemicals, there's no allergens, there's no irritants where you live, and you don't push yourself too hard. You have to learn exactly what can hurt your skin and what can't, and you live in this very strict world. Okay, so for the very last alternative treatment that I'm going to cover today requires us to look deep into our ancient past, where people thousands of years ago observed that misuse of one medicine can cause horrible imbalances in the body, and they developed herbal remedies to fix those imbalances. Now, this is called traditional Chinese medicine. Now, even though this type of medicine is used across the world, I'm just covering the Chinese version of it. Now, with all of the other options, there are caveats, and here's the caveat for TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine. When it comes to topical steroid withdrawal, you can't just pick any TCM doctor and expect good results. In fact, I had a guy reach out to me just the other week saying that he found a TCM doctor, and this person gave him a very fancy Chinese cream, and turns out that that cream had topical steroids in it. Okay, so that's the very last thing any of us who wants to avoid steroids would do, right? So you got to do your research and make sure that you are being treated by a person who really does know what TSW is. And for me, the only one that I know of is Dr. Olivia Sue Friedman from Amethyst Holistic Skin Solutions. Now, I have to stop here and address my biases because it would be hypocritical of me not to do so. So I am a patient of Dr. Olivia Sue Friedman. So everything I'm going to say about this is related to my personal experience, which was very positive. Okay, so take that with a grain of salt. Not everybody responds the same way to herbal treatments as I or some of the other people who had success from it. Okay, am I clear? Great. So when I met Dr. Olivia Sue Friedman, let's just say I was very close to giving up. I attribute her treatment as one of the biggest factors in me sitting in front of you today and making this video. But when I first met with her, it was a breath of fresh air because we spent a full hour going deep into every facet of my health, whether that was the skin that was freaking out during TSW, or even things like my diet, my love life, how I go to the bathroom, how am I sleeping, everything. And then after our first meeting, she made a test round of herbs that were completely custom to my situation. So again, we're not just taking random herbs and saying, hey, or do you have this herb in your packet? Well, I'm just going to go buy that herb and take it. No. That can be dangerous too. So don't do that. This lady, Olivia Friedman, makes every single step completely customized. So let's say this month, oh my God, I'm convulsing in the middle of the night. I can't sleep. I'm shaking. I'm shivering. I can't thermoregulate. And she's going, okay, this month we're going to focus on that. And then how are we doing the next month? Oh, I'm not having that. And now I'm really flaky. I'm oozing a lot. Whatever. she would go in and change the herbs to exactly fit those symptoms, treat them. And my personal experience was month by month, my symptoms began to go away. And right now, I personally cannot afford any more herbs this month. I am off of them. But because of the work that I have done, stopping the medication, I am not experiencing horrible adverse or rebound effects, which is something I personally value greatly. It is incredibly freeing. But yeah, I just decided to give her a try. I came across her on YouTube, and if we just go to her website real quick, amethystacu.com, we go under the TSW tab, and she's got, you can do a consultation video with her. She's got answers to the most asked questions, and then over here we have testimonials from people just like me who have or have not had success. And again, the effects of the treatment may vary, just like any medicine. But for me personally, I found the realization that I was not using a pharmaceutical. I was not using something that if I stopped it the next day, I would bounce back. I found that incredibly comforting. And I found that the treatment and improvement that I have experienced to be long lasting. Now, I also want to say perfectly clearly that I am not 100% healed. I still have a long way to go. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes within the community, is to think that now that I look better, I am 100% better. And that's not the case. There are still a lot of things I cannot do, just the same as with cap therapy or really any of the pharmaceuticals. Topical steroids really do damage your skin if you misuse them. And it takes a long time for that to be completely reset in your body. So yeah, there's a whole lot of different options out there. What I think is really impressive to me as someone who has gone through it is that, and I like to say this often, is that if there was ever a time to go through TSW, it's now. Because as compared to 5-10 years ago, now there's scores of people that actually know what this is, and they actually want to help you, as opposed to just gaslighting you or, this and that. So what I'm really trying to say here is that if you know in your heart that you've gone too far with the topical steroids, whoever's fault that is, and you need help, do it. Whether you need to start a GoFundMe to fund your alternative treatments, or whether you want to go for one of the more pharmaceutical routes and at least try it out, do it. Don't lose hope is the biggest part of my message today, because your life is worth it. And you deserve better. You deserve better. So with that, I will conclude the video. I really hope that this was helpful, not only for people going through TSW, but maybe for doctors out there who maybe, rely heavily on pharmaceutical treatments, but maybe are curious about alternative treatments. And it doesn't have to be an outright battle. I do think that some of the things when it comes to money and big corporations, I think those things are more disgusting. But when it comes to the individual doctors, the individual patients, we're not dealing with evil people. We're dealing with people who want to help each other and to get better and to grow. So I hope that just the same, if you want to eat a healthier diet, you focus more on adding good nutrients rather than just taking away. And I think we can at least think the same way about our healthcare, is that maybe, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to all pharmaceuticals. Of course, those things can save people's lives. But maybe we add some things that have been around for thousands of years. Maybe we add things that are new and don't involve drugs, that don't involve things that we need to have more studies on in order to prove it's safe. So yeah. Now, if you're going through this and you're seeing this, thank you so much for your time. And please like the video, subscribe for more, and please comment on how you're doing. What are you doing to treat yourself? What are you doing to cope with topical steroid withdrawal? Let me know. With that, I love you all very much. Have a lovely day. Peace out.